Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Welcome back to IF Academy Snippet YouTube channel. I've just recently renamed it. In our today's video, we're going to see the financial model series 1.2 additional formulas. This is the formula which is not described in our top 9 formulas, again, our top 10 formulas again, where we are going to see an add-on formulas here called IFS is also used in financial modeling. So where IFS is very effective. So for example, if I go for multiple conditions. Again, now this is another question that pops up in everybody's mind. Where in the world I have to use an if and an or combination, and where in the world that I have to use if yes, or nested if I'm not using the latest version here. So that is what I've given on the right hand side. Whenever you have the results are less, but the conditions are more. So for example, I'm going to say yes or no to a particular data set, and the question can be asked in multiple ways. So I have 10 questions coming up. All the 10 questions will be different logics here, or in a singular questions, there will be more twists and more conditions will come into play. The answer will always be an yes, or it will be a no. If that is the case, then I can use if and or and not functionality. Probably I'll give if and an or not in another video. Already I have a video on it, I believe so. So I will be adding those in the description if I have one, or else I will create one and then forward it in the near future. Now I'm planning with a simple if condition, because those who are brand new to if condition, so probably they should not be, you should not feel that they're lost here. So I'll go for a simple if, and then I'll make the IFS also into a better point. Again, IFS is a little better than nested if, because nested if is a little complex to use because the number of commas that we're going to use, and then nested if always felt a little burden for many people who use regularly, tend to do a lot of mistakes. Silly mistakes can be operated in this, and then nested if goes by an order also here. Again, when I go for IFS, there is no such scenario because I'm going to give an if condition for each and every scenario. So that makes my life a little more easier, and the number of conditions is raised to 127 condition in a single IFS function. Again, in our current scenario, I'm not going to use that. So I'm going to just picking up a simple financial functionality where I compare my income statement here. So my income is around 15 lakh rupees and my expenditure was 12 lakh rupees. And then if the income is over my expenditure, then I'm going to get a profit here. And I'm going to show that I'm not going to keep this as an income statement. I'm going to call this as profit and loss account. So I'm going to either put a profit here or a loss here. I can either use the income and expenses as my condition to fulfill our answer, or I can just pick up the answer here and then see whether the answer is a non-negative valuation, then it will be a profit. If it is a negative valuation, it is a loss. So let's see how this is going to work. I'm going to give a simple if condition. Again, when I go for an if condition, we can start from a logical test here. So when I normally give a logical test, it's going to give you an answer called true or false. But unfortunately, I don't really require a true or false here. That looks pretty damn elementary level of learning. I'm going to make this data set to a specific output here. So that is where our if condition plays a major role. Let me just give you an iteration on how we're going to use a logical test here. So logical test will not be a formula, just as two cell references here, and then if the cell reference comes in plays better, then it's going to give you an answer either true or false. Let me just go for a normal logical test. I'm going to pick up the value of 15 lakhs. If this is greater than the above 1, then it's going to give you an answer called true here. If I just say 15 lakhs, I will type it here, then it's going to say false here because I gave a formula here called greater than. I never say greater than or equal to here. So it has to be greater than so that it gives you the true. If it is not so, it's going to give you a false here. And if it is exactly matching, it won't give you that. It's still going to say false because I never informed the formula, or I never said the formula has to be greater than or equal to here, or less than or equal to here, something like that. This is what we normally do in a logical test. So the logical test formula will come in this way. So this is the formula that I will use in a logical test. So let me just convert that into a value because I'm going to remove that right now. So this is a logical test normally. This logical test, if I add them inside if condition, then the result can be given in a particular point or in a particular style that I wish to see that as a result here. So how do I do that? So I'm going to use the same logic here. I'm not going to change anything here. I'm going to just invert this inside an if condition. And then I'm going to give a comma. Then when the if condition comes into play, it's going to give you two different results for me. The first result will be a true result. If the condition that I specified in here is a true, then what should be the resulted cell output? If the condition given in here is a false, then what should be the output here? So I'm keeping it in a positive front first, so I'm going to call it as a profit, or I can call it as a loss. I'm going to include the bracket and give an enter. That's going to populate my answer here. And when I make this maybe a 16 lakh rupees, then it's going to show what else for us to do this. My valuation is negative. This is one way I can do it. This is another one formula that I can add in here as a list, or else you can just say the result based. So if my result is going to be a negative value, then that will be a false for me, or it's a loss for me. And if the resulted value is a positive value, then that's a true for me, then that's going to become a profit for me in this list. If this result needs to be more than 2, so I don't want either or. I want either this or that or that one. And that is where the logic of nested ifs or ifs populates into play. We cannot use an and an or condition here because my results are going to be more, my conditions are less here. So that's the only reason why I'm using an ifs or an if condition. Again, I can use two if conditions here. That's what I call it as nested if. And then I can do if-else condition also. So let me just put both of them here. So let me just add the same symbolization for my next cell. This is where I'm going to use my nested if. So I'm going to just say equals if. Again, it's going to start with two ifs here. So the logical test is going to be, I'm going to go for the second point right now. So I'm going to say if this valuation is greater than 0, then I return the rest of it. When if you're using a function argument, then the double quotes is all taken care by the system here. But I'm manually typing it here, so I'm using all the component in a manual pattern possible. Then I give a comma. Now I cannot give a false condition here because I have to say if this is a 0, I want to call it as break even. And if this is a negative one, I want to call it as loss. Then I can say another if here. And that allows me to get two different conditions here. So I'm going to just say if this is equal to 0, then put them as a break even. So I'm going to give a double quotes here, let's say break even point here. And if it is like both the condition doesn't satisfy here because my valuation shows a negative value here, I'm going to false. So then I close the bracket and give an enter. I want to close the bracket twice because I'm giving two ifs here, so I'm going to close the bracket. And if when you give an enter, that's going to give you a loss exactly whatever answer that I got earlier. The statements will come into play. Again, the advantage of this right now is if my valuation becomes equal, then my simple if won't show the break-even point because I never mentioned it. But my complex if or my if-s or nested if will give me that in the list here. So when I go back here and then when I make it as 14 lakhs, it's going to show a profit in both the table here because I made the data set in this way. So let me add the formulas to us on the right hand side. So let's add the first formula. I'll say equals. It's a normal if function that I've added here. And then this is going to be a nested if function. Then when I go for nested if function, I have to keep an order here. So when I started with a profit, I kept the midpoint of the data set and then I kept the loss here. If I want to do it the other way around, I can do it again, start with the loss. I will keep the break even as the middle part and then I'll put the positive point as profit here. If I'm using IFS functionality, I really don't want to do that. So the conditionality doesn't matter because I'm not going to just say this is the condition that I'm going to give here. Instead, I'm going to tell each and every condition one after the other. So that's where if condition, if S is a little better. If you're using Office 365 2021 version, probably then this list. So I'm going to just say if this logical test is, I'll do it in my way. So I'm going to say if this is equal to 0, and then I'm going to say S. Then the advantage of this is I can add another logical test here. So I'm going to just say the same cell. If this is going to be less than 0, then I need had to be a loss. So I'm filling each and every condition and it's itself for me. When this is going to be greater than part of 0, and I will call that as perfect. And that way I can specify as many as 127 formulas here. That's going to make our life a little more easier here. So when I change this to 1500 to 15 lakh rupees, then it's going to show a break even in both my data set. So you can see the difference between the formulas here. The first formula only gives you 2 results. The second formula and the third formula makes the data set really interesting for us, and that makes our life a little more easier. Again, compared to the nested if yes will be more controlled here, because I'm giving the data set in a way in which I want it. So I will put every condition possible by the data set that allows me to get what I want. So this is if yes for me. This is nested if, and simple if. So my idea to give the sum if functionality to a better engineer, but I try to do the if conditions also, because we never know where and which part of our data model requires some improvisation here. So wherever we need an improvisation, we can do that via these 3 formulas here. I would like to elaborate this to a better point. So let me put one more video on if-else condition. I'm not going to use a nested if that's going to become a little longer than normal. I keep them in the list, or I can even try a VLOOKUP with a table feature on the right side. So with the helper table, I might get the list here. So this is what I'm trying to achieve in my next logic here. So next video is going to be on this, because this video is almost crossing 12 minutes right now. So I don't know how many of them will even see this video completely. But again, if I can able to understand, if you want to know what is the difference between a normal if and other component, then you can do that. And I will try to add 2 split videos for you. So one on the calculation of IFS functionality here based on this table. So based on the new, because that's the current scenarios that everybody is facing, because we are closing to our financial year filing time, and in another 20+ days, we need to file our individual returns and other returns here. So how we can do that if somebody gets a data set here. So I'll give you some ideas, and then I'll give some insights on it, and then I'll give you a talk. And this is going to be a little bigger video than what we are doing, and what the current video itself crosses around 10 to 12 minutes here, or sometimes it will touch around 30 minutes here. So without further more discussion here, I will end our session with this. So in this video, we see how to use the simple if, a logical test on top, and then nested if, and the if-else condition. So if conditions is more readable, more controlled data set that I can see here. So that way it's become better for us. This is Vinod signing for myself Academy, also or newly named as iSelf Academy Snippet, your YouTube channel for multiple learnings on Power BI Desktop, Excel, PowerPoint, Word. Even you can learn accounting softwares like Tally. And the recent updates that I'm planning to add is I'm going to add a few more dimensions like MIOB, QuickBooks, and so on and so forth. Let's see how to do that, and let's learn more on this picture. Thanks for watching this video. Please share this video to your friends and family, and subscribe this video if you're not subscribed to this channel. And also click the bell icon, which allows you to get all the notification of whatever new functionality that I'm adding will all be added in this list. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Happy updating. Happy love.